Hi YouTube land, it's Leslie again from welovejones.com and We Love Jones here on YouTube, and I'm coming to you today with some instructional hacks for early elementary. Sometimes as homeschoolers we kind of forget to do some teacher development for ourselves, and summer is kind of that perfect time if you happen to homeschool on a traditional calendar, to spend some time on yourself as a teacher so that you start strong when the new school year starts. I know some of you are year-round homeschoolers and this doesn't apply to you, but if this does, I hope you find this helpful. Now, I have been following some public school teachers on YouTube. There's a bunch of channels I could name, but the one that the one channel I kind of watch the most when I'm washing dishes or something is Pocketful of Primary. Many of her ideas are, I borrowed many of her ideas from her instructional hacks video and kind of adapted them for homeschool mamas. Some of this is my own comments and stuff I learned from my first home year of homeschooling, which we just wrapped up a month or so ago. And yeah, and some of this is just my own personal experience having been a student. So I'll jump right in. I think I have 17 little points I want to get through. Now, I will link Pocketful of Primary's channel down below in the comments, and I might add a title, a note card, or I'm still learning this YouTube thing, so I'll figure out how to do a card, or at the very least it'll be down in the comments, so you can check out her videos and check out her channel. And I'll also list something called whole brain teaching, which is a method of teaching, say, at public schools. And I found that website because Pocketful of Primary recommended it. So some of it comes from there. So my first instructional hack is to have a transition from just morning routine, whatever that is. And I want to reemphasize that these are my tips are for early elementary. This may not necessarily help you if you have junior high kids or high school kids, just because that's where my experience is at the moment. You know, because when you homeschool, the line between home life and academic life, those lines are very blurred, and it can get, you know, you're almost too comfortable at home and it's too easy to get distracted. And because of those blurred lines, I think there needs to be maybe not necessarily a circle time if you're kind of towards the end of elementary, but some formal or something to mark the transition from your morning routine, whatever that is, breakfast or whatever, into school time. Now, I was fortunate enough to have chosen a curriculum my first year of homeschooling that had a circle time, and for us that worked great. But maybe you're using Erica Arndt's Confessions of a Homeschooler's morning binder, morning activity binder. I'm not sure what she calls it, but a morning binder, a circle time, something to formalize, a ritual. That's the word I'm looking for. Some sort of ritual to kind of that the kids know anchors the beginning of their school time, so that transition between just whatever they do before school and into school is more seamless and just becomes the most natural thing in the world to have that transition happen on school days. So I'm going to definitely be thinking long and hard. And the curriculum I have chosen to go with for this new upcoming school year also comes with a circle time. So I'll have that as a structure that I can lean on. But I think I may kind of modify that a little bit to fit my son's personality a little better. But anyway, there's tons of YouTube videos of preschool teachers teaching you kind of circle time songs, and you get to decide if you are also choosing to have your transition be a circle time. You know, you get to choose. Do you want it to be super heavy on the music, or do you want it to just be more of a read aloud, really gentle transition? Whatever you choose to do, I know a lot of homeschoolers have a morning basket. That's a transition. That'll work great. So yeah, make that circle time fit you, because it's not just about that transition for the kids, it's also for you as the teacher, because especially for those of you who are new at this like I am, you're developing a habit for yourself too, to think, okay, now it's time to do school, we need to get serious about this. So the whatever ritual you choose to go with, it has to fit you and your children. So tip number 2, or instructional hack number 2, have house rules. Any public school teacher will tell you that they have rules. The Whole Brain Teaching website kind of recommends their standard 3. I really like their standard 3, but I also kind of like modifying it, since we don't have classrooms, we are teaching at home to just our kids. I chose to go with these 3 house rules, and calling them house rules and not just school rules will fit when you transition in and out of school time throughout the day. I chose to go with follow directions quickly, be kind, and make smart choices. These 2 are from Whole Brain Teaching, and this one is, forgot where I got this one. I want to say I got this from Teaching Strategies on YouTube, which is like an insanely expensive preschool curriculum, but I digress. And I think any of the rules that my son has ever broken can be categorized as one of these 3 rules. And so if he hits his sister, he's breaking this rule. If he's getting unfocused, he's breaking this rule. If he purposefully wasn't careful with a toy and purposefully broke that toy, which has happened twice now, he's not making smart choices, he's broken one of the rules. And so I can when I really thought about these rules, one, you don't want to have more than 3, because an early elementary age child can't remember more than 3, and you don't want to bog them down with like a list of 20 rules. It just seems oppressive. Everything can be relayed back to this, and I couldn't think of anything that he's ever done wrong that I couldn't categorize into one of these 3 things. So these are the house rules I plan to post come August 7th, which I have decided will be our first homeschool day. And we will homeschool August to April this year. Anyway, number 3 is have class cheers. Now, I remember cheers a little bit in my public school career when I was a student. The Whole Brain Teaching recommends things like a 10-finger woo. And there are tons of cheers you can look up on Pinterest, and public school teachers are more than happy to share their tips and tricks with us. And I found this one. I've X'd out the ones I didn't like, but I found this guide for classroom cheers from sweetsugarblossoms.blogspot.com. And so I put this in my homeschool planner, and I put it in a laminating sheet so that I marked it tough days. I have like a whole list of resources that I put in my homeschool planner for when I have tough days with my children. And it's a resource for me. So look up and print out some cheers so that when your child is doing well, they've mastered a difficult concept, or they've done their memory work for the day, and celebrate those small accomplishments and have classroom cheers. And it encourages, especially for those of us who might be homeschooling because we want our children to be have close relationships with each other. We want siblings to get along and be close. Encourage them to constantly celebrate each other's accomplishments, however small. That is motivating on days when it might feel like a mundane school day. So classroom cheers, love it. There's one I saw, I think, on one video, and it was a preschool video, and the teacher had a small cheer was D, 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 duh, D, D, D says duh, it's no trouble for me to say duh. Simple cheer, just to kind of emphasize a point that she had just taught, the phonics of the letter D. So anyway, anytime you can have a cheer that has a corresponding gesture or movement. I'm talking a lot with my hands, it's just what I do. Gestures and movement will go a long way to keep your child that is in that early elementary school age, to keep them engaged and focused on what you're having to say. Tip number 4, back to transitions. Just like we have a transition between morning into school time, have transitions between subjects, or if you're going to split your school day up and it's not going to be, morning school time's over for the day, and then the rest of your day. Some of you guys have morning, school time, lunch, more school time, end of the day. I don't usually have that problem because I only have one child. He's in preschool, where we can usually finish preschool time before lunch. But if you're having to weave in and out of school time, have transitions between subjects and in and out transitions for that in between school time. Transition into lunch and out of lunch, or if you're giving them a recess that day, have a transition. So whether that's a chant, a song, a cheer, whatever it is, to anchor that activity so that they know when you start to sing this song or when you repeat this rhyme, they know what's happening next, because your child isn't going to remember their schedule. I mean, it's really on you. I remember public school teachers using the Barney was a big thing when I was in early elementary, Barney's cleanup song, to have us clean up and completely clean up after an activity before we would start the next subject. So anyway, just thought I would throw that in there. Tip number 5, callbacks and hand motions. This is very heavily from Pocketful of Primary and Whole Brain Teaching. So I actually remember callbacks. I didn't know that's what they were called, but after having seen Pocketful of Primary's videos, I now know that's what they're called. So Power Rangers was a big thing when I was in early elementary, and sometimes when the teachers were trying to get our attention, they would say, and I went to school in Los Angeles. I am a product of Los Angeles Unified School District. But anyway, I remember school teachers using, I don't know, I'm putting myself out there. Power Rangers was a big thing, and sometimes the teachers would say, go, go, and we all knew to answer Power Rangers. I can't think of another one. Go, go, Power Rangers. Can't think of another one. I'm sure there was tons that, public school teachers, if you have a room full of 30 kids, you have to get crafty and creative to keep your students focused on you so that you can teach them. So some of the ones Pocketful of Primary and Whole Brain Teaching is, have a clap, class, yes. So you say class, they respond yes. We homeschool, so we don't have a class. We have one child we're teaching at a time usually, unless you have many children. You're teaching and you're grouping some of your kids together for some subjects. So she has one, I love this, from the movie Finding Nemo, shark bait. You say shark bait, they respond hoo ha ha. Just as a fun way to kind of bring some silliness into your homeschool day, and it's a way to celebrate points. My son's really into SpongeBob, and so I know I'll be using "Are you ready? Are you ready, Connor?" instead of "Are you ready, kids?" and then having him respond "Aye, aye, Captain" from the SpongeBob theme song. I know one of the ones public school teachers use a lot is having saying "waterfall" and the students reply "shh" as a way to calm everything down, and they know the teacher wants their attention. You all know some callbacks. I've heard crisscross kids respond applesauce. There's one I like, ears engage, locket. I like that one. I went through the trouble of thinking through some of those for myself and my son, and I wrote them out. My son's really into Paw Patrol and Thomas the Tank Engine and the Wiggles. So he trains. I'm going to teach him that if I go toot toot, he can go shh. So when a steam engine releases its steam, it kind of goes shh. My son loves those sound effects when we act out the sound effects of trains. My son's really into Paw Patrol, and so I'm going to teach him to say, I'll say Paw Patrol, he'll respond, we're on a roll. And it's just a quick little celebration that, hey, we're on our roll on our school day. And, it's something that'll get him excited if there's a lull, and then we can keep going with our school day. If I say hot potato, he loves the Wiggles, he can respond cold spaghetti. And again, we're just little mini 2-second party, and we move on with our school day. But it's just really just little tips, little tools to keep your child engaged on the school day. So we've gotten 2 callbacks. Number 6, teach why they are learning something, even at this early elementary age. My son needs to understand that I'm teaching him phonics because our end goal is, I want you to read. I'm teaching you math because I'm teaching you how to count because you need to be able to do math. And there have been times where he's like unfocused and, just it's difficult to get him to focus on school. And if I say, would you like to be able to read a book by yourself sometime? He'll kind of he'll think for a second, and he kind of looks at me like, yeah. And I said, okay, well, we need to focus and just get through this quick little 2-minute lesson we have left to finish, and we need to, and then you're free to play after that. And framing it in an if this then that scenario, giving him a time frame. It just takes 2 minutes. He doesn't really know how long 2 minutes is, but and then giving him a reason for why we're doing the thing that we're doing can usually get him to focus long enough so I can finish whatever I need to get through. So explain to your kids why you're teaching them something. Why are you doing the phonics with them? Why are you doing the math? Why are you, why should they care? Sometimes I can get my son to focus on math. There's a fly. On math lessons, if I say, if you want to be a fireman someday, he loves firemen, he loves policemen, you're going to need to know how to count. And so we need to practice, okay? And just saying that will get him to care again about the boring counting that he does not want to practice. So anyway, number 7, use your child's name often during a lesson. Making the lessons personable, especially if you're gotten to the point in math where there's word problems. Use your child's name in the word problem, just so that they care. Or in the hypothetical, or read the story as if you're doing a read aloud, as if it's them, instead of using the child's name in the story. So anyway, any gimmick you can use to keep your child engaged, go for it. Gimmicks are great. I'm all for it. Number 8, teach in an accent or have a PJ day or talk like a pirate day on difficult school days. I have done a video, I think right before this I'll have posted a video on getting ready for back to school. On that video I mentioned you have to have a solid plan for those tough burnout days, or days where your child is just not into school and you want to push through. If you choose to take the day off, cool, I'm all for it. I've done that myself. But sometimes you just, you need to have a school day, and there isn't a good enough reason not to have a school day. I'm not feeling like it is not a good enough reason for it, for me, as far as I'm concerned, to not do school. So, and I mean tough days, not just your child's having a tough day, but maybe you're not feeling it. So if you just incorporate some whimsy, some silliness, like talk like a pirate day, into your school day, it will go a long way to help you push through those tough days, because they will happen. They will happen. So tip number 9, have your kids teach each other if you have more than one. And yes, I do this. Even though my daughter is only 16 months, I have had my son turn around, because she's there anyway. She's looking at us like, I want to color too, Mom. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm into it. and I have him turn around. Okay, I just taught you blah blah blah. Will you teach your sister blah blah blah? And I have been amazed, despite his speech delay, how well he can articulate something I just taught him to her. And so definitely, if you have several children, use them, have them teach each other, and hearing how it comes out of their mouth as they're explaining it to another child, to their sibling, will give you tons of feedback as the teacher to tell you whether they really got a concept or not. If you only have one child, then just having them parrot things back to you might work. It will work just as fine. But again, I care a lot about fostering a good relationship between my children. I want them to be close to each other, and so as much as I can have them do school together, I think will go a long way to foster a good relationship between the two of them later on in life. To that point, tip number 10, have your child repeat back to you small snippets. So because in that early elementary age, you never want to teach more than one thing at a time without checking in on your child. Sometimes the best thing, I think it was Pocket Full of Primary that said this, or maybe I saw this on Whole Brain Teaching, somewhere on YouTube I saw, the longer you talk, the less your child is learning. So you want to stay away from that lecture format. Now, I love lecture format. I love teaching in lecture format, and I learn the best in lecture format. I don't know why, I just do. So I've had to really learn to stay away from that and stop often to check in on my son, because he's a preschooler. He needs me to stop often for him. So anyway, no, don't teach more than one point at a time without checking in with your child. Number 11, as the teacher, you want to move. You want to move as you're teaching a lesson, and you want to move out of wherever you normally teach. Now, some people are really into, they want to have a classroom in their house. I kind of do too, but and we learn at a desk. And other homeschoolers are like road schoolers, and we teach at the park or wherever. I'm an advocate of have a healthy balance. Yes, bulk of schoolwork should be done at a sit-down table. Want to school on the couch? Have at it. Want to school on the floor? Have at it. I have a preschooler, so we do a lot of work on the floor because he kind of needs to fidget and get around. As long as he's learning, I don't care where we are. If we're at the park, if we're in the car, if we're on the couch park, on the front porch, in his room, I could care less where we are. So long as I can move and he can move and he's engaged on what we're doing, I don't care where we are. But you also have to be willing to move. It isn't enough to allow space for your child to fidget and move around so that they learn. But you as a teacher, if you move, it kind of gets them engaged and keeps their eyes on you so that you can teach something. So use music. So number 12, use music. Now, if you're doing a unit study on sharks, bust out some John Williams theme to Jaws and introduce them to that. And as they're reading a book about sharks or something, if you're reading a mystery story, play the theme to Mission Impossible. So use music. Obviously, if it's a difficult subject like math, classical music, something nonverbal is best. But use music as to help you with transitions between subjects. Use music to help you teach a subject. So I will be using this a lot. I will probably be playing classical music a lot when he's doing math, just to keep him focused or help keep him focused. Or when he's doing a writing task. He's not doing a lot of writing yet, but we're getting there. Sound effects. Maybe you're doing a read-aloud and it's Christmas and you can pull up on YouTube the sound or the image of fire crackling, just to kind of set the stage or the mood for a Christmas story or whatever. I mean, there's so much out there. Maybe you're reading a book about a rainy day. You can play some relaxing rainy music, sound effects of rain falling. Or you're reading a book about the rainforest, find some rainforest sounds. Now, I was fortunate that the curriculum I used came with a lot of sound effects that went with lessons. and unit studies we were doing at the time. So I just used what came with my curriculum. But I liked some of the ideas I got from Pocket Full of Primary. She plays Mission Impossible music when she has them line up to leave the class, or she just has great ideas. So anyway, and I just love John Williams, anything he does. Superman theme, he did the music to Superman, Harry Potter, Star Wars. He did the theme of Star Wars. Doing a unit study, or are you learning about space? Are you doing apologias, astronomy book this year? John Williams did the score to Star Wars, and there's tons of Star Wars music that is very cosmic sounding, that would fit perfectly with what as background music to you teaching your science lesson. So music, use it. Number 13, praise phrases. So I'm going to quote Pocket Full of Primary here. There's one that she uses, and it's, "I'm so proud of you for working so hard. That took a lot of practice, and I'm so glad you stuck with it. You are such a great friend. So-and-so is so lucky to have a kind friend like you. You have such a positive attitude about learning, and seeing you learn brightens my day. I love how you took ownership of your own problem, and I'm so proud that you made that good choice." Now, we know about praise phrases and how important they are just in parenting in general, and being specific, because your child needs to know why they're getting in trouble, or why they're getting praise. And so to that effect, I've actually downloaded a praise cheat sheet from picklebums.com. So I have this praise sheet that I downloaded, and here, now these ones that I got from Pocket Full of Primary, the ones I just read to you, are pretty standard things I say anyway, but it's just good to reinforce it and remind yourself and ask yourself often, have I given my child any positive praise, any positive attention today, or has it all been just me talking down to him today? If I have spent too much time talking down to him as his teacher, I'm failing as a teacher, because he should never feel like I'm talking down to him, and two, why would he care about school if I'm doing that to him? So, and I come from a family of yellers. I just do. I have a harsh tone to my voice, and sometimes I need my husband to remind me to reel that nonsense back in, because I don't want that to be what he associates school with. So next is, where am I? Brain sprinkles. Now, my public school teacher, what was her name? Miss Guido, Miss Mondragon, I forget which one. We called them twinkle things, and she had glitter out in a little satchel, and she would put twinkle things on our heads, and when we were struggling with a subject, and we could, at any time, we could ask for twinkle things, and she was just glitter. But Pocket Full of Primary put brain sprinkles in like a Dollar Tree sugar dispenser, so she could just pour it out on everyone's head on test days. So however you choose to use it, it's a gimmick. I know it's a gimmick, but it's an affordable gimmick. That any gimmick you can use to keep your children focused on school and loving school, I say do it. I'm all for it. So hopefully brain sprinkles or twinkle things or whatever you want to call them. It doesn't have to be glitter, but whatever gimmick you choose to use to help your child when they're struggling with a subject, or on a test day if you test. I know some homeschoolers don't test and don't believe in testing. More power to you. I'm not sure where I lie on that. And I don't feel pressure to figure it out yet. So whatever gimmick, if you have a boy, maybe glitter won't work past a certain age. So I don't know. You'll figure it out. But use gimmicks like brain sprinkles or twinkle things. Now this next point, number 15, I also got from Pocket Full of Primary. She calls them smelly spots, and she just takes like cheap scented lip gloss. They make lip gloss scented like anything. You can get chocolate scented lip gloss, or whatever. And as kids are working, as a way to give them a positive reward, she puts a little bit of the lip gloss right here on their hand, and it's just something sweet that they can smell while they're working really hard on a writing project or whatever they're doing. Now I instead of lip gloss, I might use essential oils because we love essential oils. Some of them are hot and they might hurt, so I might have to mix it with carrier oil. But essential oils will work just as well, and so that's a way to give a positive reward. It's affordable. It's better than a sticker, and you want variety. So stickers are motivating to my son sometimes. That's hopefully that smelly spot idea will be motivating to him. You want to have a bag full of tricks and gimmicks that you can use to give positive attention, positive praise, reward your child to keep them focused and loving school. And that's the key. That's what we all want. We all want children who love school. My daughter just woke up from a nap and is crying, so let me get through this really fast. Next point, ask, are you, tattling. So I have some experience with this, but not an extensive experience because my son is just now getting verbal enough where I can understand him. But he has started to tattle on his sister. And Pocketful of Primary has a great one-liner that I hope will help me in the future with tattling. Her one-liner is, are you telling me this to get to get so-and-so into trouble or to get her out of trouble? And I think hopefully asking my son this will teach him that if you're tattling, what is your motive? I want my son to stop and think, why are you tattling? Are you procrastinating? Or are you just a bad person and want to get your sister in trouble? Not okay. So I will be using that phrase a lot with my son because tattling is starting to become not a huge problem, but I'm starting to notice that he's very quick to be like, she did it. She did it. I didn't do it. It's all her fault. I had nothing to do with it. And sometimes he seems to like gloat. He's like happy. He's telling me she's done something bad. So anyway, and she's 16 months old. I mean, she doesn't know it's bad, but he doesn't know that. So anyway. Last one, nurse alternatives. One of her videos cracked me up. Pocketful of Primary's videos. I just laughed so hard because she has students throughout the day, throughout the school year say, my hair hurts or my stomach hurts, and so she has a strategy called nurse alternatives, and we all have this. I've done this. I remember doing this to my mom when I would come home and I had homework to do and I didn't want to do it. I was procrastinating, and I would feign a stomach ache or feign a headache or feign whatever I was feigning. And so Pocketful of Primary's answer is go get a wet paper towel. Your hair hurts? Go get a wet paper towel. Your stomach hurts? Go get a wet paper towel. And 50% of the time, it's just your child needs attention or your child's trying to procrastinate and is just not feeling it. Have nurse alternatives. Tell them to go get an ice pack out of the freezer because, we're homeschooling, we're at home. Have a strategy. If nurse alternatives for me, if I'm having a bad day and if I genuinely have a headache, I just name it. I call it out and I tell my child, I have a headache. Today's not the day. Today's not the day to mess up because I will savage you. But, I have him nurse me throughout the day. Oh, mommy's really struggling teaching you right now. Mommy's going to go get a glass of water and come back. And my son will always, he's so sweet. My son will kiss my forehead and he'll want to check my heart. He has like a little pretend stethoscope to make sure I'm okay. And he looks in my ears and we get on with our lesson. And I push through the day to finish homeschooling for however long we're going to do it that day. And then we move on. If I take Advil or Tylenol, I show him, Mommy's taking some medicine. We're going to wait 15 minutes and then we're going to do school. So, and if he needs medicine, I give him his medicine. Okay, but now we need to transition back into school. So have some a nursing strategy, nurse alternatives. 50% of the time you can make whatever fake medical issue they have go away by just naming it and having some nonsense strategy to get them to move on past it and accept school is happening anyway. I'm not falling for your fake headache or your hair hurts or whatever. We're doing school, get on board, without being in their face about it. So that's it. Those are all my instructional hacks, all the things I have gathered that I have been working on for my own professional kind of development as I strive to be a better homeschool mama for my children. And I've got to go because my baby has woken up and I have to go be mom now. So thanks everybody for watching this video. Please subscribe like this video, subscribe to the channel, check out welovejones.com, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Thanks everybody for stopping by. Take care. Bye. Just thought I'd show you the little peanut that you heard crying in the background. This is my daughter, Sophia, and she's happy because she's getting to eat some little gummy bunnies. You know, it's really hard. We're vegan. It's really hard to find these that are vegan. But anyway, and these bunnies. Can you say hi to YouTube? Yeah. What do you want to say? There you have it, folks. Take care, everyone.